So this is a really difficult thing to go out there and talk about, and I was debating within myself whether or not it was appropriate to make a video like this, but honestly, I feel like with the magnitude of this story, with all the context behind it, and with the overall message that it can send to audiences in general, I do think that it is important to acknowledge that this thing is happening, and try to be as sensitive as we can about it, because today what we're doing is we're giving an update as to the Vegas Golden Knights and the Robin Lehner situation, that in which we did introduce about a week ago. Robin Lehner, as we're all familiar with, has not played an NHL game in 2 seasons, and he's most likely not going to ever play again. He's making a lot of money still, $5 million a year until the end of this upcoming season, but he did not end up reporting to the Vegas Golden Knights and their training camp, and thus was not able to go under the physical examinations that he needed to go under in order to stay on the team's LTIR. There was reporting going on from Vegas, oh, he's not here, what happened? But then Robin Lehner himself, via Elliot Friedman, released a statement saying that the Vegas Golden Knights know why he wasn't showing up. And from that piece of information, it was kind of fishy. It was like, okay, well, why are the Vegas Golden Knights making it seem like they're surprised about this, when, according to Lehner himself, the team was aware that he would be missing out? What's going on here? And with all the stuff with Robin Lehner in the past, in regards to the Vegas Golden Knights, there were a few controversies with him and Peter DeBoer denying the reports of Lehner's injury, and how he would get pulled and he would get called out in the media, and then the goaltending controversy with Marc-Andre Fleury. There were a lot of interesting talking points with Robin Lehner over the years. The thing is, though, when it comes to this, we do have ourselves word from the Las Vegas Review-Journal as to what actually happened and why everything is so weird. I'm going to leave a link in the description to this article right here, published by Mick Akers. Robin Lehner assets are frozen amid allegations of frivolous spending. Yeah, you can kind of understand why I didn't necessarily want to dive into this topic right away. Lawyers for one of the largest creditors in Golden Knights goaltender Robin Lehner's bankruptcy case were granted a preliminary injunction asking a federal judge to freeze his assets, citing frivolous spending. A filing in the U.S. Bankruptcy Court in Las Vegas by attorneys representing creditor Alia Growth Fund claims the company is worried it won't receive the nearly $4.8 million that Robin Lehner and his wife Danya Lehner owe it because they have been transferring money from their bank accounts to non-creditors, including shell companies with apparent Dubai ties. The filing also claims that the Lehners spent $1.5 million on gambling, vacations, and luxury purchases following the couple's bankruptcy filing in December 2022. Lehner received $6 million from his Vegas Golden Knights contract in 23-24, which Alia's lawyers claim the Lehners have already spent or transferred to avoid paying debts incurred. This is the court filing. It reads that despite Lehner receiving $6 million under his NHL contract for 23-24, it appears the vast majority of such funds have already been spent or transferred to third parties. Sufficient evidence exists to show that Mr. Lehner is transferring and dissipating assets in an attempt to avoid paying fraudulently incurred debts to creditors, including millions of dollars owed to Alia Growth Fund and other creditors. Now, before we continue, I wanted to just let that all sink in for a minute here. This is all just according to the article and according to the bankruptcy court filing that Lehner and his wife owe nearly $5 million, but they're not going out there and paying it. They're instead transferring the money to external accounts, shell companies that are written about here as to maybe even having ties with Dubai. They've also spent all the money on gambling, despite the fact that they had filed for bankruptcy a few years ago. This is absolutely crazy, and when you read about how, okay, yeah, now they're requesting that Lehner's assets all be frozen due to the amount of spending frivolously, that's the word they're using, frivolous spending, it really gets you starting to think about the financial situation of NHL players, folks that are making millions and millions of dollars every year, and especially folks like Robin Lehner who aren't really playing anymore. I mean, the contract, he's owed the money, he's going to get the money regardless, but he doesn't play. He's injured now, and with the very well documented issues that Robin Lehner has had in the past. I'm not going to use that against him. I'm just going to say that these issues have existed and they have been very thoroughly discussed by Lehner and other parties in NHL reporting. With all of these things mixing in with this situation, you can't help but just start hoping that the best is yet to come for Robin Lehner. That whatever has put him in this situation, where him and his wife, they owe $5 million to Alia Growth Fund, but they're not paying it. They're instead spending it on a whole bunch of other stuff, vacations, gambling, luxury. They're sending all this money to other external companies so they won't pay it. This is where you start to hope that everything's actually okay with the Lehners and that these financial struggles are going to be dealt with in a proper way soon. Let's go out there and read the rest of the article. The court granted the creditor's application to freeze Lehner's assets outside of $25,000 a month for living expenses and legal fees. Stipulations of the order also don't allow the Lehners to move money around to financial institutions outside of the U.S. or to sell off assets to other family members, including Robin's father, Michael Lehner, with whom he owns a business. In July, the Lehners saw one case closed tied to their Chapter 7 bankruptcy, in which they owed creditors a total of $23 million. A case involving RSMP Finding LLC was closed July 2nd after the Lehners agreed to repay nearly $3 million to the company, which will be paid back via garnishing multiple sources of income for the couple, including Lehner's NHL contract. The Lehners also owe $4 million in loans to Las Vegas businessman Michael Borden, and Robin Lehner was sued for $4 million by Eclipse Service Inc., a Wisconsin-based HVAC company tied to the goaltender's solar-based company Solar Code. So what I'm reading here, based off of the article, he owes $5 million to Alia Growth Fund. He also owed multiple more $1 million to Michael Borden, a businessman. He was sued for $4 million by Eclipse Service Inc., on top of $27 million that he had owed to creditors, which him and his wife agreed to pay $3 million in return. What, like, okay, 4, 8, 3 million, so 11 million bucks, plus the 5 million that they owe to Alia Growth Fund. The Lehners owe $16 million to different parties? Oh my goodness. You gotta help but wonder, like, is there any sort of financial advisory going on here? Does Robin Lehner and his wife, do they have the necessary access to getting somebody who can tell them what to do with their money and how to pay off all this debt properly? Because just from reading the report here, the filing from the bankruptcy case, it's so dire and it's really scary, honestly. Like, we get it, NHL athletes make millions and millions of dollars, and Robin Lehner's got $6 million from last year. Great, right? Awesome to see him getting paid for a contract that he earned, that he is unfortunately not able to fulfill because he's not playing, but he's still getting the money. But hearing that this is how the money is being spent, and there are other extra millions and millions of dollars that he's owed to different parties, that's when you start thinking, yeah, no, this is kind of really difficult to talk about. So yeah, this is just kind of awareness for y'all. You know, I have a lot of viewers on this YouTube channel that are under the age of 18. I check my demographics, you know, some of y'all are younger. Whatever you do, if you make millions and millions of dollars, find the proper way to invest it, find the proper way to save it, and find the proper way to just continue living your life within your means and not trying to bite off more than you can chew. Having millions and millions of dollars is awesome. It's great to be able to afford stuff, but you have to be responsible. No matter you have $1 million, $100, $2, or a regular old $30,000 a year job salary. Like, financial responsibility is a skill, and not everybody has it, unfortunately. For Robin Lehner and his wife, hopefully things turn around in the next few years or so, because just based off of this information, this is not going to be able to be paid off, like, quickly. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Robin Lehner and this very, very unfortunate update that has bestowed upon him and his wife. You can say it's his fault. You can say that it's his responsibility. That's not incorrect, I think. But at the same time, you know, I think it's only appropriate to have some compassion and decency here as a human being to acknowledge that there probably are some extra things going wrong here that are under the surface of spending millions and millions of dollars and not paying the millions and millions of dollars that are owed to other parties. So, thoughts in the comment section below about Robin Lehner. Hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.